We want to look at the state of real estate this morning. Housing sales in New York City picking up amid pandemic reopenings and with some big discounts as well. New homes in New York City are coming to the market at lower prices and including bonuses like free common charges and free parking. Joining me right now is Peebles Corporation founder, chairman, and CEO Don Peebles. Don, it's great to have you right now. Thanks very much for being here. I guess I want you to assess where New York City stands. You see both sides of the spectrum. You see what happened in New York when people started leaving in droves. You also are a big developer in Florida, so you saw where they were going and sort of the strength in Florida as well. How would you assess New York City real estate today?
I think New York real estate, residential real estate, is struggling right now. We are entering typically the best part of the year for luxury sales in New York City. Residents are coming out of the winter, they're going into spring looking to buy so that they can make their plans for relocating. And so what we're seeing right now is that typical activity that's taking place, some pent-up demand and significant discounts and incentives, including paying property taxes for new buyers as well. Developers are offering all kinds of incentives. So the market looks like it's more active, but I believe it will be short-lived, and then you'll see further price reductions.
Yeah, because you came on with me a couple of months ago and you said, look, these things don't turn around quickly. We could be in this process for a 10-year period where New York doesn't come back, doesn't reach the peaks that it was. So you're saying you're seeing home sales up 24% year over year because of all of the incentives, and you're seeing much lower pricing. Is that what you see going on in New York right now?
Yes, and also a considerable amount of pent-up demand. Think about how inactive the market was previously. And so the market's catching up a little bit, but I don't see it as being long-term. I see it as being short-term unless we see more significant price reductions. All you have to do is look at the commercial office market, and you see vacancies at historic highs, for example. Retail, you see vacancies at historic highs. So I don't think there's reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, and you mentioned to me a couple months ago that you thought when you have a retail store that the store is dead because people are going to continue doing online shopping. Add on to all of that higher taxes, Don, and let's talk about the impact, because New York State is closing in on a budget agreement that would raise corporate and income taxes. The plan raises income tax rates to 9.65% for single filers earning more than $1 million. It introduces 2 new brackets. The plan would make top earners in New York City pay the highest personal income taxes in the country. They're going to go above 10%. In taxes, up from 8.3%. What's the impact here? Does a tax increase like the one we're talking about in New York lead to even more of an exodus of people out of New York, in your view?
Yes, I do. I think that it is ill-founded for anyone to be raising taxes after a historic federal payment has been approved to come to New York City, after 1 million job losses in New York State due to the pandemic, after 400 people leaving and moving out of New York City alone per day. That is telling you that we've got to do things to attract businesses and attract residents, and raising taxes. And by the way, when you add New York City taxes, the top bracket now becomes 15%. So people are now going to be working 15% of their lives each year to pay taxes to live in New York City and state. And that is going to be challenging. And wealthy people are mobile. And everyone who has made these adjustments to working virtually now learns that they can work anywhere in the world. And you're already seeing people making adjustments. I mean, I have been texted and emailed and called by many people over the last week as this tax policy and this tax increase has been firming up, saying they're done, they're leaving New York. And that's unfortunate, because what the greatest thing about New York is, you know, that you can, if you make it here, you can make it anywhere. And that's putting a whole new meaning to it. You're going to have to work a lot harder to make it here now.
But it's unbelievable, Don. I mean, think about what we're saying here. 15% in New York. Put that on top of the increases that Joe Biden wants to take the highest all the way up to close to 40% again. You're talking about almost 60% of your income going to government. if you're living
Yes.
in New York and a high earner.
Yes, it does. And that is going to be a disincentive, and it's going to make businesses and residents, especially high tax paying residents and businesses, begin to look to shop based on what's the most tax and business friendly, because you have to add on all of these other aspects of how what drives cost to doing business in New York City and makes it further unattractive. Yeah. I don't understand why this is being done, because the state does not need a tax increase. There's no need for it right now, and the governor's already said that. So it's telling you something also, that New York is becoming far less hospitable to businesses and high-income earners.
I mean, why would anyone stay there? You're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars in taxes by living in New York City. If you are able to move out of New York City, it's obvious that you would want to, and you just mentioned such an important point. New York has gotten money from the last quote-unquote COVID package, which wasn't a COVID package, it was only 10% COVID. It was tens of billions of dollars to states. And despite that, Governor Cuomo and 6 other Democrat governors have sent a letter to President Biden asking for an end to the state and local tax deduction cap placed in 2017 under former President Trump's tax cut plan. The letter says this, in part: capping SALT, or state and local tax deductions, was based on politics, not logic or good government. This assault disproportionately targeted Democrat-run states. Don, you've got those other states saying, well, we're not going to subsidize these tax increases. So it's all connected, Don. Your reaction to what Cuomo is now saying about SALT?
Well, I understand the governor's point, certainly, to soften the blow of these massive tax increases. The ability to deduct them would soften that blow. Unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. You have 9 states in the United States that have no income tax. And as a result, they are not going to support a change in policy that makes them less competitive. And 4 of those states, especially 2 key ones, Nevada and Washington State, have 2 Democratic senators, and they are not going to vote to make their states less competitive. If they do, it's political suicide. And all the Democrats have to lose is 1 for that to not happen. And then you've got the senator from West Virginia as well. So I don't think it's a realistic goal to eliminate the caps. And they were done not for politics, but to level the playing field, if you will, for those states that were perceived to manage themselves more effectively. New York City is one of the greatest cities on the planet. So it has a lot of attraction, and people have always been willing to pay more to be in New York City, as have businesses, because of the great talent that you find in New York City. And now, by raising taxes, and as we still are coming out of a global pandemic with a million-plus job losses, is going to really test that desire to be in New York City and New York State under any circumstances. And I think that it is very poor policy.
Yeah, especially since a lot of those reasons are not existing today. Broadway is closed, restaurants are closed. It's now that's temporary, but still, I think all of these points are really important. Rich people do not have to keep paying up. Don, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. We will keep watching this story. Don Peebles joining us.